Some languages describe the world, but Sanskrit creates it. It's considered a living language, and whilst I am by no means a scholar of Sanskrit, I am an enthusiast of tantric teachings, and I've been studying yoga and philosophy for the last decade plus. And I found on my journey that if we tune our voice, our breath, and our attention, Sanskrit can become more than just sound. It can become a bridge between consciousness and creation. Hi, my name is David William, grief alchemist and a guide in tantric hypnosis, combining classical tantric teachings with modern understanding of hypnotherapy. And my work in grief alchemy and relationship harmony, I support people in transmuting loss, whether that's the loss of a pregnancy, as it was in my case, a relationship, or a loved one, into a deeper connection, clarity and love, recognizing that to suffer deep grief is to have known great love. And in that process, Sanskrit and mantra have become some of the most transformative tools that I have found, and so a desire to share that with you. Sanskrit is often called the language of the gods. It's not a dead language, it's a vibrational technology, but it's more than a language. It's a vibrational science, a living architecture of sound where each word is not just a symbol, but a frequency that mirrors what it names. Each syllable corresponds to a specific frequency of consciousness. So unlike English language, Sanskrit vibrates at the frequency of the thing that it points to, whereas in English that's not really true. And this is because in tantric teachings, thoughts and emotions aren't separate entities. They're opposite sides of the same coin. So you can't have a thought without a feeling, or a feeling without a thought. They're intertwined, inextricably linked. And the language is designed to reflect this. It does. Take the word for fire, Agni. When chanted properly, the sound Agni doesn't just describe fire. It vibrates like fire. It activates the heat, transformation, and intensity of fire within. At least that's been my finding. And during my grief week, the word Agni and getting to sit with that and feel that and vibrate with that was so supportive for me in being able to digest and work through the emotions of grief and the stages of grief. So Sanskrit power lies in its sound and in its seed essence, bindu, and it's this sound that is designed to transform consciousness. And this brings us to mantra. The word mantra itself comes from man, to think, reflect, and tra, to protect, to liberate. And so mantra is that which protects or liberates through reflection. So what does this all mean? It means when you speak a mantra with awareness, it doesn't just carry meaning, it carries energy. The sound itself begins to reorganize the nervous system. It's an amazing technology. I'm finding that through the repetition of mantra, in tantric teachings there are 4 layers of the word, and mantra, which starts at the spoken level of the word, then begins to seep into, to penetrate deeper layers, the mind, and then the unconscious layer. And in doing so, it purifies. It's a reorganization. It's a rewriting of the unconscious mind. And from that space, it creates not just clarity within, but an ability to, I'm finding, such a realign with life. And it's been a really interesting journey for me. So each mantra is the sonic body of Śakti, divine energy in audible form. When you chant a mantra, you're not just making sound. Now, I did this for a long time, sitting with the sound, but not actually tuning my whole system to a sacred frequency. That is the intention behind it. I'm finding. It's not about simply the repetition of sound, but a real presence and consciousness and devotion to it. It's God in audible form, and to give it such reverence is invaluable, I'm finding. So think of it like a tuning fork for a stringed instrument. The body is the instrument, the breath is the bow, and the mantra is the vibration that brings everything into resonance. And mantras operate through resonance, not belief. So you don't have to believe in a mantra for it to work any more than you have to believe in gravity to fall down. However, when repeated with, and this is the key part that I missed for a long time, and the difference that it makes, when repeated with loving, full-hearted awareness and consistency, the mantra begins to repattern the mind, clear distortions in the subtle body, and reveal your own luminous nature. I can't express the value that I got from my mantra practice in combination with all the other things that I put into my grief week, but it really did change a lot for me. And really unsurprising, because before then, and before I really connected with mantra, it's not something that really resonated with me. It was a bit it just didn't connect. There wasn't this desire to really understand it. But I've sat with tantric teachings for so long now that it eventually penetrated its way through those blocked parts of my mind, and has really, really been supportive. Because in our modern world, we're constantly overstimulated. Most people are living in mental noise, not in resonance. And mantra, I've found, is a return to coherence. It gives the mind something sacred to repeat, something that replaces the loop of fear, regret, or overthinking. And when practiced regularly, it repatterns the pathways of thought itself. In my own journey through loss, grief, and rebuilding, mantra became a lifeline. It didn't raise the pain, but it turned it into rhythm, something I could breathe with, move with, and love again. It created a big shift, and actually I used Sanskrit as the name of the daughter that I didn't have the opportunity to have a conversation, a dialogue with. And I got a lot of value from that, because every time I evoke her name now, it evokes this mantra, and it supports. So I'm discovering how over time mantra moves from the mouth into the heart and then into silence. And in that silence, what remains is being itself. And if you're new to mantra, I can empathize how it can feel a little daunting, a little overwhelming, perhaps even disinteresting. That was me. Even with the decade that I've spent in yogic philosophy and study. It's taken a decade for me to get there. But one of the oldest and most complete mantras is Om. Just that. Om. The sound of totality, the breath of the cosmos. It opens the heart and returns you to wholeness. Even chanting it gently with attention on the feeling, not just the sound in the mouth, but the resonance in the body. Om. Hey buddy. Hey buddy. This is Miko. Miko says hello. So if you are starting a mantra practice, ooh buddy, no. Thank you. That was a great contribution there. Chant it gently, with attention on the feeling. Not just the sound in your mouth, but the resonance in your body. Start with 3 repetitions each morning. 3 can be enough. And let it be a thread connecting your day to the sacred. So for me, repeat it in the morning, but then I come back to it throughout the day. And then end with it at night as well. And that thread gets to be repeated, and that path gets to be continually grooved in the mind and beyond. So let's take a simple example, the mantra Śānti Āsti, peace is. When you breathe in, you whisper the word Śānti, peace. When you breathe out, I believe it's pronounced Āsti, is. Again, not a scholar of Sanskrit. If your Sanskrit is on point, then please drop a message in the description and the comments. I'd love to connect with you. If it's not that you're asking for peace, it's declaring it with this Śānti. So you're retraining the nervous system to recognize peace as already present. If you've been chanting for years, I have an invitation for you to consider, are you still inhabiting the mantra, or has it become mechanical? Whilst I haven't been sitting with mantra for years, I can see how it can become mechanical. We get into the habit of things, and when we do, it takes away it can take away the presence of the thing that we're doing. So I saw this a lot in yoga classes when I was teaching. People could be very present, they could be very well practiced in their yoga asana, but that invited the possibility of the mind wandering, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. It's just something to become aware of. So, mantra is a living being. It's considered a pulse of Śakti that requires intimacy, presence, and listening. So revisiting the mantras that have connected with you and asking not just what they mean, but what they feel like and what they reveal. And sometimes the most advanced practice is returning to the basics, as if for the first time. Now, I've had to do that myself with learning to walk again, which has been an interesting journey. And we often overlook the basics because they're considered fundamental, but it's because they're fundamental that they're so important to revisit, to practice, to refine, to improve. And this is the kind of things that I share in the collective with integration packs, not just about movement, but about philosophy and mantra, short weekly reflections and practices that blend Sanskrit, neuroscience, and embodied philosophy. Because what is wisdom if not embodied knowledge? So if you're curious, you can join my correspondence list, where you'll receive this month's integration pack completely free. You can join through the link in the description. In Tantra, sound is not separate from consciousness. Each vibration is considered a pulse of Śakti, divine creative energy. And mantra is not a magic spell. It's a mirror that reflects one's true face. It's medicine that heals one's separation from what already is. And when we repeat a mantra, we're not begging some deity outside of ourselves for help. We're actually invoking the aspect of divinity that already lives within us. And this is why I love tantric teachings. It's not about externalizing our power. It's about recognizing the power that does, and always will exist within us. It's a practice of sovereignty. So whether your mantra is Om Namah Shivaya, Soham, or simply Om. What matters is not how many syllables you chant, but how deeply you listen. And maybe in that listening, you'll hear not just the sound, but the silent presence from which all sound arises. It's not superstition. It's participation. It's learning to co-create reality through resonance. This is why I'm so passionate about sharing this. It's a beautiful, beautiful philosophy and understanding of the nature of reality. So if you've been navigating grief or trying to rebuild love after loss, and you're tired of doing it alone, and this way of working with sound and awareness speaks to you, it resonates with you in some way, then we can go deeper in a few ways. You can join my correspondence list to share integration packs, like I mentioned. Stories of a character named Prem, which a fusion of creative endeavor that I'm enjoying, but also classical tantric teachings infused with modern understanding of language and hypnotherapy, mantras and reflections as well to help you reconnect to peace and presence. You can step inside the Aligned Living Collective, our practice space, where you'll receive weekly integration packs, and you can practice grief alchemy and relationship harmony in community. So much value in community. Or you can book a one-on-one tantric hypnosis session where we'll listen deeply together, and I'll support you in rewriting the inner dialogue that keeps you striving instead of receiving. Again, you can find all the links to all of this in the description. It's actually just one link. I just made it a lot easier for people. Also, you'll find the link to all of these as well as a grief storybook, free sample that you can download, which I created to help in my own grief process, but also as a way to support others going through grief themselves. And if that's you, then an invitation to check that out, or if you know someone struggling with grief, an invitation to send it to them, because I know how challenging it can be and how valuable it is when the ones we love reach out and support us. So thank you. Sending you a lot of love, and Om.